Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Well, it's finally dropped. The brand new 2024 R1300 GS Adventure is finally here. We've got all the pictures, all the specifications. Stick around and stay tuned. This is an important bike. So, we all know how important the GS and the GSA models are for BMW. It's been their sort of flagship motorcycle for the last donkey's years, the best-selling big bike for donkey's years across the world. It's absolutely critical that BMW get this bike right. Now, the standard GS 1300, I really enjoyed getting to know earlier this year when I borrowed one long term. It's an amazing bike to ride. The new engine is absolutely fantastic. I just struggled with the looks of it. So lots of us, myself included, have been very much looking forward to see what the new GS Adventure had to bring. We've heard all sorts of rumours that it's going to be a very different bike, going to look quite different to the standard model, but let's see what they've come up with. So without further ado, let's take a look at some pics and then we'll go through the key bits of the specification as well. So here's the new bike then, not this one, but these pics that I'm showing you, the new GS Adventure. Now the old, or the standard GS, I really struggled to get past the looks of the front end on it. That star-shaped light and the treatment in particular of the cover over the radar was something that I found really unattractive. And I desperately hoped that on the GSA they were going to do something different. Unfortunately, as you can see, they've kept the star-shaped light and the same treatment of the radar. I can live with the light, it's the radar bit that I think looks ugly. Now they've gone one step further this time, because not only does the front end of the new GSA, to my eyes, look ugly, but the rest of the bike is absolutely hideous. It's got this massive stocky look about it. We all wanted more road presence, we all wanted more Tonka toy, but this looks absolutely hideous to my eyes. Of course, looks are very much subjective, and this is just my opinion, of course, on the looks of this bike. I find this one looks absolutely repugnant, even worse than the standard GS. To me, it just makes my eyes want to bleed every time I look at a picture. However, I'm sure there are many people in BMW that absolutely love it, and I'm sure many of you will too. What I can say is, this bike, if it has the dynamic riding abilities of the standard GS, which I'm absolutely sure it will, it shares the same engine, for example, then it's going to be an absolutely amazing bike to ride. So if you are in the market for a large adventure bike, and you like the looks of this one is definitely going to be one to have a go on. Now, what I don't have for you in this video is details of pricing of the new GS Adventure, but you can bet your bottom dollar it's going to be more expensive than the standard GS. The bike is being revealed today at the very same point as I'm putting this video out at the BMW Motorrad Days event in Germany, and I'm sure the BMW Motorrad website will be updated in the next few minutes giving full pricing details. So after you've watched this video, go and have a look. But one thing's for sure, as well as very dark glasses, you're going to need very deep pockets for this one. Okay, so much for the aesthetics of the bike then, or otherwise. I said I'd take you through the key specs, so let's go through those now. Okay, to the specs then, I've got these written down fresh from the press release so I don't make any mistakes. First off, the engine then on the bike. It's the same as that in the standard GS, putting out a respectable 145 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 149 newton meters of torque at 6,500 RPM. From experience, I'm going to test. This is a fantastic engine. It's going to be a beautiful bike to ride this. Next up, and a bit of a surprise, although I suppose if we've been paying attention to patents and things of late, this isn't a surprise. The new GSA has automated shift assistant, or what BMW call ASA, which is effectively an automatically gearbox. Apparently this will be available as an option on the standard GS as well from the 2025 model year, so that's quite a big change for this bike, auto gearbox. Next up, the new GSA has 4 riding modes as standard, whereas the outgoing bike only had 3. This one now adds Enduro as a standard riding mode. The new GSA has LED lights all round, as you'd expect, and it's got auxiliary riding lights as standard. They've got this sort of flat design. Adaptive ride height is available as an option on this bike. Again, it's something that the standard GS has. It's an amazing function. I did make a video just on adaptive ride height. I'll put a link in the corner if you're interested in that, but that's definitely a box worth ticking, particularly if you're a shorter rider. The bike, of course, has active cruise control using that radar that we can see on the front of the bike, and that also comes with all the extra radar activated things. So stuff like front collision warning, active lane change warning, and so on, whether you want them or not. The GSA now has a 30-litre fuel tank, and it comes with some rubberised storage as well. I'm glad to say the bike keeps its telelever front end. It's now the Evo version, as well as the Evo paralever suspension on the back. The suspension on the GS I love because it means when you brake hard, you don't get any fork dive, so that's excellent. There is dynamic suspension adjustment as well, fitted as standard. That's the electronic suspension basically now as standard. The frame, like the standard R1300 GS, has been revised. It's now made out of sheet metal, sheet steel, rather than tubular steel. That's so you can save a bit of weight, and also it's a bit stronger apparently. You can get an aluminium top box and side cases for the GS Adventure, and they come with a USB port, I think, in the left pannier. These aren't central locking, which actually I think is probably a good thing, given how the central locking worked on the standard GS. The standard GSA now comes with more standard features over the outgoing bike. So for example, you get things as standard like heated grips, keyless ride, tyre pressure monitoring, engine drag, torque control, ABS Pro, cruise control with brake function, DSA and the auxiliary lights. They're all standard on the basic model. And the GSA comes in 3 versions initially. That is the standard GSA, which comes in red. There's also a triple black, a GS Trophy model, and something called an Option 719 Karakoram, which is kind of analogous to the Tramontana one, which is that green one that I had on the standard GS. So the spec then on the new GS Adventure is probably largely as we could have guessed. I guess the main surprise is the addition of the automated shift assistant. The rest of it we probably could have guessed looking at the standard GS now. For me, the big surprise of the bike is just how ugly it looks. I know I've harped on about this and it is subjective, but I'm really disappointed about that. I'm really struggling to love the new standard bike and the GSA. When the 1200 came out initially, I absolutely loved everything about this bike. The looks, the functions, everything about the bike. There was nothing wrong with it at all. But these new bikes I'm really struggling with. I really hope you love them. So please do let me know in the comments below if you think I'm speaking completely out of order about the new GSA. I know I've been harping on about the looks, but for me, that's a massive thing about buying a bike. If I buy a motorcycle, it's one of the things that attracts me is how the thing looks. I want to have that look back in the garage factor, and this bike definitely does have it for me. So really look forward to your reading your comments below as to whether you agree or disagree with me on that. One thing's for sure, regardless of the looks of the bike, the new bike is going to be absolutely amazing to ride, so I cannot wait to have a go on it, and I shall bring you all the details on that as soon as I can. I'm sure we're going to be hearing an awful lot more about this bike in the coming weeks. All right, that's it for now. Normal service resumes tomorrow. Look forward to speaking to you again then. Until then, this has been the Mr. Fly. Cheerio. Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Well, it's finally dropped. The brand new 2024 GS Adventure is now, let's do it again. And I'm sure some of you too will too. Let's do that again. Okay, so much for the looks of the bike then, okay, so much for the aesthetics of the bike. The new GSE, the GSA has a 30-litre rubberised, let's do it again. Than the tube version, you know what I mean. Let's do that again.